Spain wasn't even on my bucket list, but I can honestly say that it is now one of my fondest memories and one of the best takeaways I received from the University of San Diego. They say that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I took over 500 pictures, but after going through them I realized that none of them give justice, because you really need to acquire all five senses to appreciate everything that was around in Spain. With the European feeling that you had, and you had your monuments and statues and beautiful fountains, there was so much more. Our group was lucky enough to go to the ancient city of Toledo in Spain, and brought a whole new meaning to when I used to say Holy Toledo back in the day. Really was a thing. The ancient city was actually known for its monuments that represents both actually Christian, Jewish, and the Muslim faith. It also is home of one of the most amazing cathedrals I have ever seen. I was actually lucky enough to also see the ancient city of Segovia, which really had hit me more to my heart because it was all about knights, cathedrals, and castles. Oh my. I was just so impressed by the upkeep of this castle and all it had to offer. I was just in absolute heaven through the whole thing, but it was an amazing sight, and I do strongly recommend seeing it. I should add that the aqueducts that are in Segovia are also breathtaking. Religion is a big part of the Spanish culture. It's safe to say that the Catholic Christian faith is like the staple of Spain. It's represented through its churches, its cathedrals. There's icons and monuments all over Spain, and learning about those cathedrals, I mean, they were built, some of them that have been in starting the 1200th century to the 1500s. So we're talking about blood, sweat, and tears of, centuries and generations of different families and people to create such amazing structures and so much detail inside and out of these cathedrals. I did also get a chance to see a synagogue that a king allowed his treasurer, who happened to be Jewish, to have his own personal synagogue. This was created into a church later on because of the expulsion of Jews from Spain, but it's now converted into a museum. But you definitely can see how there's a strong influence. Even in the schools, you'll see representative of the Catholic faith, which is unique. It's, or I would say, different than here in the United States. There's a lot of history in Spain, but there's also your modern part of Madrid in Spain. For those that are traveling, there are beautiful buildings that have been constructed that are also very interesting to see as you go through the city. There's even a section that reminded me of Hillcrest in San Diego, where the LGBT community felt comfortable displaying their rainbow flags and holding hands and being affectionate outside without ridicule. Also, in case you need it, as far as an ATM, there's plenty. There are almost on every corner. You also have pharmacies almost in every neighborhood. And there's also plenty of wonderful snacks, incredible treats on every corner in different cafes. There is even a Starbucks almost on every corner as well. They never could get my name right, but that always happens in the United States too. Plenty of shopping, shoes and purses and leather. I even came across my future man cave, which has all the armor and swords you can only imagine. So I'm going to pause here and just appreciate what I saw. Transportation, just to let you know, there's the metro, the trains, scooters and motorcycles are very popular there. And if you don't like to ride those, well, you also have your taxis. They're everywhere, and it should be pretty easy to find one. Although there was so many wonderful things of Madrid, and I just appreciate every little detail and all the amazing architecture. It's not the main reason I was there, and that's what I'm going to get into next, is the opportunity to learn about change makers. So part of change making is just getting to know our children, and because they're our future, and I wanted to know about the kids in Madrid. I learned about how much they enjoy soccer, and they're playing in all the different parks and in the streets. I had a soccer background, so I really enjoyed that. They're also really good at skateboarding. Some of them are very talented. Fortnite is also extremely popular with the kids in Spain. They told me all about it, because if they're not shooting something up, they're dancing with their characters. This is something actually we do here in our own home with my own kids. They love to do that floss they do in the video games. This is something I also heard in my own classrooms when I was doing my student teaching. Although there was plenty to do and plenty of parks for kids, the neighborhoods themselves came across quite a few economically challenged neighborhoods. You can definitely tell the difference between the sides where you have your hotels and the nicer touristy areas and nicer apartments, and then you had your more realistic family neighborhoods. Unfortunately, there was a lot of tagging and it wasn't as clean in those neighborhoods. And a lot of these schools that we went to that are focused on change making are surrounded by these kind of neighborhoods. I did appreciate the schools having gardens. I like the uniforms. They even had smocks to keep them clean while they did their work. The technology was lacking and outdated, but I do like that actually made them focus more on the students themselves and not using technology to replace collaboration and creativity between the students. You could see how hard the students worked in their notebooking. I was so impressed by their attention to detail, their pride in their work, and they did absolutely amazing work. Personally, I enjoyed the loud classrooms, just hearing the kids collaborating, communicating, and really being involved in the process of their own learning. I enjoyed that the classrooms weren't just inside four walls, but they were in hallways. They actually knocked down walls and put up windows to give more of an open feeling. Walls were very comfortable. They even pushed more of the family unity. They had a lesson on the family tree, and they even included the classroom as part of one family and a family tree. I love one kid that even wanted to confess his love of another student. I mean, for third grade, it's pretty impressive. Now here's the question marks. When it came to the immigrant students, they weren't truly included as they talked about inclusion. They were part of a welcoming class, but it wasn't really they weren't really integrating with the rest of the school. Also, the difference between the United States and Spain is at 16 you either continue down an academic prep for university, or you're encouraged to go to a vocational program, which a lot of the immigrants seem to be steered towards. And now my favorite takeaway, the 4 drawers. Backwards design learning to really take the bull by the horns and make sure that students are getting out of it, learning the end result. Like, how are they showing that they learned something? How do we organize it in pairing of groups or individuals? How are we igniting and enhancing the creativity and critical thinking? Really creating change makers, and how do we help them become better people? They covered how to deal with conflict. They also really had different types of lessons that they found the problem and then created those solutions, and they really did focus on justice. I just told one of the principals, it's like removing the limitations, not just throwing education at them and bulking them down, but removing limitations to help these kids fly and become something and really become superheroes. Other fun takeaways was the butterfly comparison and contrast, and the octopus that helped use the tentacles to separate and classify. Also really amazing were the reflections and the honest reflections and honesty of the students. Oh boy, and I got to teach, and I can tell you right now that I was extremely nervous. But once I got in the groove, it was just an amazing experience having to teach English in 3 different classes. I taught 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and 6th graders. And they did amazing work, and I really appreciate every second with them. They also, we got a chance to actually make brochures in the 6th grade class. And I love how attentive they were. They really worked well as a group. And I absolute priceless experience over there in Spain. On the way home, I was thinking about the big 4: curriculum, mindset, systems, and culture. And that growth mindset, that empathy that was built into the curriculums through the 4 drawers, especially the 4th one, the spirit, where we're making kids better, and we're focused on them using their empathy to find not only the problem, but find the solutions, looking around, seeing needs, and filling those needs. These students have a bright future, and I'm hoping to bring that to my own classroom.